Hello there guys, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Squadrons video. Squadrons releases in exactly 1 week, so I thought I'd go over what the game has to offer for non-Star Wars fans or just for those who are still a little bit unsure. Now, I just want to say a big thanks to Danny on PC for the suggestion of this video. Obviously I haven't played this game yet as it releases in a week's time, so I thought I'd just make this video based on everything we know thus far. Again, for those non-Star Wars fans out there who were curious about the game, or even for those who are fans but are still a bit unsure. So what I mean by this video can be summed up with Battlefront 2 quite nicely, and that was that it was a solid first and third person shooter that offered player combat, flight combat, and obviously vehicles and heroes and such in multiple game modes on several different maps. Now, these maps offered new and exciting environments to play in, and depending on what game mode, you were always offered new objectives per map, which allows for some really solid replayability. Now, obviously that completely ignores the Star Wars skin to it and just focuses on the core elements of the game itself. So what does Squadrons have to offer to non-Star Wars fans? So let's essentially ignore the fact that it is a Star Wars. So it's a first-person only flight sim essentially, where we have a single-player campaign, 2 online multiplayer modes of which 1 can be played against AI, 8 unique starfighters, tons of customization both cosmetic and gameplay affecting, as well as options to play with the fight stick and in virtual reality, on top of the usual controller and the mouse and keyboard inputs. The single player campaign will help you learn the ropes of the game and get a feel for each starfighter, as they're all very different, as well as taking you on board a brand new Star Wars story. The multiplayer modes will transport you across 6 unique maps that will allow you to face off against other players or sometimes AI in both a dogfight setting and fleet battles as well. Dogfight is your typical team deathmatch, however fleet battles is a much bigger game mode with a tug of war style to it. Based on what we've seen about each map as well, they are all very different in the colours used, and also the environments that they offer, whether it's the red atmospheric skies of Yavin Prime or the orange hue of the Nadiri dockyards. Looking at the customization as well, there are around 60 components that will alter how your ships perform. Now, not all components will be available for every single ship, however I'm sure most will be. There are 7 different slots for components as well, so you can really change up your ship and the way it plays in many different ways. Not only can you change how it plays, but you can also alter its appearance as well, whether it's your pilot, the cockpit or the exterior. There are tons of customization options available to you, so if you're into cosmetics and other such things like that, then no doubt this game will please you in that way. Enough about the general game itself though. What about the core gameplay elements of Squadrons? Well, a big part of it is that power management system and the overall depth to the controls that is unlike any other recent Star Wars game to date. Games like Elite Dangerous have a power management system and of course very in-depth flight controls, so for those who are familiar with that, perhaps Squadrons is something you'll be interested in. In Squadrons, and depending on your ship, you will have to manage your engines, lasers and shields, though 3 Imperial ships only have the engines and lasers to manage. With it being first person only, along with there being a power management system, you can already tell that this is no typical arcade flight shooter. Whilst I don't know much about Ace Combat or Elite Dangerous, I think it's fair to say that it's more in depth than the Ace Combat series, but far less in scope than Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous has that large sense of scale, with it being exactly 1-to-1 scale of the Milky Way galaxy, with countless things to do in it, whereas Squadrons is simply that single player and multiplayer fight sim game, so it's probably a lot closer to the Ace Combat series, whilst obviously of course being its own thing. Either way, if you're familiar with either of these previously mentioned games, I think Squadrons may be something you'd be interested in. To put everything a little bit more simply though, Squadrons is very much a niche title compared to what most Star Wars fans are used to. If you're into your flight simulator experiences and enjoy a cheeky dogfight against other pilots, then perhaps this is probably a game you will enjoy. If you're a veteran of flight sim games and already have a hotel set up, then no doubt this will be something you've probably already looked into. Even if you've never really played flight simulator games before and you're curious about getting into them, then again this is something that might very well interest you. Squadrons isn't the full price that most games are. It costs $40 and has backwards compatibility support as well for the next generation consoles, so you will not need to upgrade for it, and it is of course available for PC as well. That is pretty much everything from me today though guys. Squadrons releases on October 2nd, and I will be giving you my overall in-depth review for the game after I've had a good few weeks to play it. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.